Hey, what is up guys, Duty Heals here. So I want to go over a quick guide on how to gear and build a level 30 Resto Shaman in retail WoW. I've been getting some questions on the Discord and I'm hoping that this video will be able to answer those. So we'll go over gear, stats, and talents. I will not be going over professions. Normally you want engineering, and then the secondary one is whatever you decide personally, personal preference. So going over stats first, I always prioritize versatility. I never bother with crit, haste, or mastery. We'll get into crit and haste later. And for mastery, it is completely useless at 30. If someone's already at low health, chances are they're already going to die. Your heals baseline will heal about 60% of a target's health, so mastery is constantly working against itself. It is a completely useless stat. Do not build it, please. The gear that I use is built purely for verse, and it is all PvP gear except for my rings, trinkets, and weapon. So the reason that I went for PvP gear is that all of my PvP gear gives double the verse that it lists. So this 16 verse is actually 32. The reason being is when Spirit was converted into versatility, something happened with the math that it was off, and it doubled on gear that only gives versatility for PvP gear. If it gives crit verse or haste verse, this effect will not apply. I use for all gems, I use +3 intellect, and I use for my meta gem, chance to restore mana on spellcast. That, along with my weapon enchant, which we'll get into in a little, they both work with each other to keep my mana where I want it to be. So it's very nice for this build. The neck enchant that I use is Mark of the Ancient Priestess. It periodically heals about 300 on a nearby injured party member or raid member, so it kind of helps do some of the work for you. Shoulder enchant I use is +4 int, +2 verse, and you get it from Sons of Hodir, so you're going to need to do some rep farming. +7 main stat on back, +4 all stats on chest, +5 intellect on wrist. I have Valinor Hammer of Ancient Kings for a caster weapon, and the reason being is it is your bis. The shield that it provides from its proc effect is irreplaceable. This thing, if you get the proc and just spam heals on someone, can virtually make them invincible for a couple seconds. It is insane. I have Oceanic Restoration on it. As I said before, it gives mana just like my meta gem, but Oceanic Restoration procs very, very often, and it also gives intellect. I think it's 16 intellect for 15 seconds or 14 intellect, somewhere around there, but with it constantly being up, it's a very nice effect. I use 7 intellect on my shield, 6 spell power on hands, socket on my waist, so you're going to want to use a belt buckle, 3 spell power, 3 verse on legs, 4 verse on feet, 4 verse on ring, and 4 verse on ring. This ring's technically not bis. The ring would be bis if it had a socket in it, but who wants to do wad farms? I use for my first trinket Concave Reflecting Lens. It is a proc heal that is virtually a chain heal for free. It will heal a target and then it'll bounce up to 3 additional targets, so 4 people in total. This thing heals for about 1,000 for me, even though its tooltip says 300, and that's a free 4,000 heal for several people. It's very nice. It's a very nice thing to have, especially if you're already AoE healing. It keeps people alive. Modes of Sanctification is my second trinket. The mastery on it is completely useless, as I said before, but the use effect is incredible. So it heals 5 injured allies within 20 yards for 1.1k. That tooltip is wrong, and it actually heals with this build, 1.7k. So I'll give a demonstration with these healing dummies. It has no GCD, so you can actually follow it up immediately after a spell. It's a very nice on use. Check this out. If I cast a healing chain heal and immediately follow it up, 3.4k. So if we go to combat log, 1.7k for each. If you were to double that because of a crit and then put it to 5 people, you're doing a lot of healing in a short time. It's a very nice trinket. The only downside is it has a 1.5-minute cooldown. Going on to the final bit is talents. So on the left side, the center tree doesn't really matter too much what you do. That's all situational. But the left side of it, you always want Earth Shield on yourself, second healing stream totem, buff your healing stream totem, and remove curses off friendlies. On the right side, you have your 4 main abilities. You always want to pick these for anything. Then you want Healing Rain for AoE healing, Acid Rain to help allies and get down to where we want to be, Wave Speaker's Blessing, which increases the duration of your Riptide, and then Unleash Life. Unleash Life is a very nice talent because if you go and put Riptide on someone, it's healing for 168 every 2.9 seconds. But if we get rid of that, use Unleash Life first, then go ahead and pop a heal. Valiant proc, very nice. It actually heals for 227 every 2.9 seconds. So it actually buffs the heal over time effect, which is very nice. Now the reason in the stats that I said we do not use crit or haste is because of this talent right here, Tidal Waves. So Tidal Waves basically, whenever you use Riptide, it makes your healing wave and chain heal. You can cast them faster, 20% faster, and it makes your healing surge crit 30% more often. So right there is your haste and crit. So if we look here, 2.5 second heal, there's the Tidal Waves, 2 second heal. It's very nice. This is primarily for my party build, and if I'm going on to like a big team healing, raid heal, then I'm going to switch over to raid healing, and this is basically prioritizing more AoE effects. So it gets rid of the single target stuff like Unleash Life and duration of Riptide, and it primarily goes for Overflowing Shores, which increases the area of effect of your healing rain. It's Spirit Link Totem as well. That's really good for soaking damage. And Healing Tide Totem, which kind of helps mitigate some of that soaked damage. If you use these both in conjunction with one another, it is some of the best healing you can do at 30. Your team will almost not die while both those are up. And that about does it. The last, I guess, few tips I can give are the food I use, Severed Sagefish Head. I use a flask of Supreme Power, and I also use Superior Wizard Oil. I do want to answer one question I had. Why don't you use Earth Living Weapon? If you have Earth Living Weapon on, and then you go ahead and put a Superior Wizard Oil on, that Wizard Oil uses the same enchantment slot that the Earth Living Weapon does. So you can't have both on at the same time. And I don't know about you, but I prefer to have 12 intellect over a chance to put a hot on someone. And I think that about does it. Oh, last tip. With this build, obviously haste is not your strong suit. So as soon as you see a boss start casting some damaging ability or something on someone, that's when you start casting. The way that this build works, and the way that I like it to work, is it's better to do overhealing than underhealing. People need to be able to trust you, so you want to always be casting a heal. Try to be proactive with your heals before the damage comes out. And that about does it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hope this answers some of the questions. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you can, check out our Discord. If this seems interesting to you, we'd love to have you. Thank you.